All right, folks. Thanks for checking out the video. I wanted to talk a little bit about the ongoing feud between Steven Crowder and the Daily Wire. Now, as most of you know, the other day, Steven Crowder uploaded a video that was titled Stop Big Con, where he went on to talk about what he described as an unfair and unsavory contract proposal that he received from what at the time was an unnamed conservative media organization. Now, that led a lot of people to speculate on who he was specifically talking about. And that speculation was ended the next day when Jeremy Boring, the CEO of the Daily Wire, came out and said that it was them that sent Steven Crowder this contract offer and that there was nothing unsavory or unfair or unreasonable about the terms in it. And he went on to say that it was not just a contract proposal, it was a term sheet. It was sort of the opening stage of what should have been a negotiation between Steven Crowder and the Daily Wire. So Steven Crowder could have come back and said, okay, well, I don't really like this, or I don't like that, or can we change this stipulation or that stipulation? And hopefully, if things would have gone according to the way each party wanted, they could have met somewhere in the middle and both been happy with whatever resulted from that. But that apparently didn't happen. Now this contract was sent to Steven Crowder. We've come to find out back in October. Okay, this was back in October, and sometime in November, we've learned that Steven Crowder registered the domain stopbigcon.com. So he sort of had this in the works for a while. He didn't come right out when it happened and say, "Oh my God, this is so horrible," and I need to stand up and protect other potential conservative commentators from such egregious terms. Okay, so that's one thing to keep in mind. Um, Now, in the last couple of days, we've heard again from Steven Crowder himself. We've heard from Ben Shapiro, and I also watched a video from Michaela Peterson, the daughter of Jordan Peterson, who's a part of the Daily Wire now. So we've had a lot of different people at this point weigh in, and I'm sure you've seen other um, conservative commentators on YouTube and other platforms weigh in on this. Now, Steven Crowder's not only doubled down on his initial thoughts on this, but he went ahead and released snippets of a phone conversation that he had with Jeremy Boring from the Daily Wire. Which, when I saw that, I was like, "Really, man? You're really going to go down that path?" Now, there's nothing illegal about what he did, apparently, but really, you know, Jeremy Boring's a guy that has supposedly been a big cheerleader, a big supporter, a friend, as he described, of Steven Crowder for a number of years now. And because Steven Crowder didn't like the terms of the contract that he was given, or at least the opening stages of a contract that he was presented to by the Daily Wire, by Jeremy Boring, that he's gone and completely stabbed this guy in the back. Now I want to be totally upfront and say I'm a fan of Steven Crowder. I've liked Steven Crowder for years. I mean, I remember when Steven Crowder was friends with Andrew Breitbart, all the way back when Andrew Breitbart was still alive. So I've liked this guy for a long time, and I like the Daily Wire. I like Ben Shapiro. I like all these guys, and they're all working to move the Overton window in a more sane direction, which I'm all for. That's the reason I'm even on this platform to begin with. As small of a following as I have, that's why I'm here. So I support anybody that's going to move that in the right direction. So, and I'm somebody that's probably more aligned ideologically, at least in terms of the things that they cover, with Steven Crowder, more so than the Daily Wire. So I don't want to come out and attack Steven Crowder for any of this, but he's unfortunately started this situation, and he went ahead and doubled down on it. So we're here talking about it. Now, instead of being, united against the left, instead of trying to advance certain causes that we all agree with, we're sitting here, trying to split hairs amongst, fellow conservatives, or fellow rational thinkers, as I call them. So very interesting, very interesting. Of course, Ben Shapiro defended the Daily Wire, as did Michaela Peterson, again the daughter of Jordan Peterson, who's with the Daily Wire now. And she basically said, yeah, it took about 5 months after the Daily Wire presented Jordan Peterson with an offer, and let it be known that they wanted to bring him into their organization and have him make his podcast and make appearances and do commentary for them. It took about 5 months that they were presented with an initial offer, and they came back and said, okay, well, what if we change this, or what if we add this, or take this out? And eventually, over the course of time, they were able to come to terms with the Daily Wire and reach an agreement that they felt was fair and was in their best interest, which is what Steven Crowder could have done. But I think one of the benefits of, I guess, conservative commentators, or whatever you want to call them, is that it is decentralized. That there aren't just a few names at the top and then everybody else. That there's probably dozens of different content creators, organizations, websites, everything that we can go to for information, for commentary, things of that nature. So in the long run, it may be better for everybody if Steven Crowder goes his own way and does his own thing and maybe has his own platform. Why not? He has a big loyal following. He can generate revenue, and maybe he can even give a voice to some other up and coming commentators, which is something he said is important to him. That he sort of eventually wants to hand the torch, off to somebody else. So while this is very unfortunate in the short term, and hopefully at least before 2024 we can get everybody at least on the same page. I think in the long term, this may be a good thing. And you know what? Maybe Steven Crowder can start his own platform and have people sort of under his banner who he can finance and he can fund and he can give support to. So, what do you all think? Do you think Steven Crowder is wrong here? Do you think he's right? Do you think the Daily Wire should have come out and said that it was from them? Should they have kept quiet and let the speculation run? So let me know what you all think. And as always, we'll see you on the next one.